Once more into the breach as Weber Cup 16 gets underway here at the Barnsley Metrodome with something a little bit different for our pro bowlers, a match format that they do not encounter on a regular basis. The Baker, as it's called, and Cass Edwards alongside me. Just talk us through what we're going to see in this team game.
Thank you, Simon. Yeah, well, you're going to see all the players bowling. Two of them will play 2 frames each, and the lead-off man and the number 2 man will bowl 3 frames each. So it's a 10-frame game, and we see Parker Bone III starting off, the debutant, and the only left-hander in the whole tournament.
Not the most comfortable start from Parker. The big names on the PBA Tour that we've been waiting to see appear and play in this tournament over the years, and we've seen pretty much all of them. And one big hit for Team USA this year, losing their captain, Chris Barnes. Was undergoing back surgery for a herniated disc, and we wish him well with his recovery. Parker Bowen clears up the spare and has a bit of fun with the crowd. We'll see plenty of that from him during the course of the next 3 days. First for Team Europe, the man he's going to play in the singles match coming up after this Baker.
Goes by the name of Lucky Larsson, Martin Larsson from Sweden.
36-year-old Swede. Great performances on the European tour before making it across to the USA. That is a very sweet strike. That's what the right-handed bowlers are trying to do, get it into that 1-3 pocket. A bit of action on the head pin, and then the reaction with the pins as they go through. And Cass, they don't hit all of the pins with the ball as they go through the deck.
No, you may not see it, but the ball only actually touches 4 pins, the 1 and the 3, the 5 and the 9 for a perfect strike, and that's what Martin has just done. Laid the ball out nicely on the lane, and here comes the big man for Team USA. It's big Wes Malott.
Wes was just incredible last year's Weber Cup, and but for a couple of unfortunate breaks, I think he could have pulled out maybe 200-300 games during the course of the weekend. Didn't quite happen for the big nasty. I think he's going to be a real handful for Team Europe this year. But stepping up is the new captain for the European side, taking over from Mika Koivuniemi. The Moose, currently coaching in the UAE, unavailable for selection this year. So this man has stepped into his shoes. Big shoes to fill, but Barrett can do it. A little bit wide, unfortunately. Just hung out on the oil, didn't make it back up the hill into that pocket.
Yes, a freshly dressed lane, so it has lane oil on it, and almost hit the headpin lights, as you can see. The ball's just skidded on down past that range finder down lane there. Just hit the headpin and leaves the 2 and the 10 standing, which was about a 5-1 shot, and it's the first open frame of the tournament, and it's for Team Neil.
The real deal. Looked to all at sea at times, and you could see it in his body language, in his reactions. But his captain, Chris Barnes, nursed him through. He's back here again to see if he can claim the trophy, and he's a lucky boy. That was nearly the big split, the 7-10.
Yes, indeed. It was quite a good-looking shot, I must admit. Not pretty much into the 1-3 pocket, but the 4-pin just missed the 10-pin there. It sat flat in the gutter. The 7-pin's gone. Just wouldn't kick the 10 out. So it can only be a spare. He's going to go hard and straight, just like that, and takes the spare away nicely.
A different ball that the bowlers use to bowl the spares. They want something that will not deviate on the lane. It was their strike ball. It's something you'll see them do all sorts of things with.
Yeah, that's right, Simon. The spare ball is a harder surface ball, and consequently goes a bit straighter. But the strike balls are very soft. Drives in through the 1-3 pocket for the right-handers.
Stu Williams then. It's his Weber Cup underway. There's a 4-pin difference before that shot, but again, no strike for Team Europe. So that potential maximum score is once again lowered. It's looking good at the moment for a Team USA point. We've still got a ways to go in this Baker. First job to be done. Just clear up the frame. Does so very well. Both he and Don Barrett emerging as superstars on the US PBA Tour virtually at the same time. Tommy will be the first to tell you that that's probably a temporary arrangement. TJ looking to lead the team to victory. Just look at this for a backswing. Serious revs on that ball and holds it up nicely into the pocket. All 10 go down. And USA maintain their potential maximum at 270. This was a good strike.
Yes, something that Tommy Jones is used to doing here at the Metrodome. He's had 4 300 games in the past. And there's no reason why he may not have another one this weekend, or at least somebody will. I'm predicting that there will probably be at least 1 300 game.
Oskar Palermo then, is this going to be Europe's secret weapon? Back in the team after 2 years out in the wilderness. The former captain from Finland will not have escaped your attention, that he's a two-hander. And just like Parker Bowen is the only left-hander, this is the only two-hander in this competition. He and a certain Australian blazing a trail for the two-handers recently over in the States.
Yeah, we're talking about old friend Jason Belmonte. You notice that Oskar only puts 2 fingers in the ball, doesn't put the thumb in, and cups the ball, wraps his both hands around it.
Very difficult to sit out for so long and then step up and be expected to do the job. Parker Bowen then, his second delivery of this Weber Cup, leaves the big one, the 710. Now, we have seen this done on TV over the years, but it's a big ask, and it means a massive score change as well.
Absolutely, yeah. This is slightly light in the pocket, and the nearly new pins leaves the 710 standing.
Oh, good effort.
Absolutely, gave it a good shot, didn't it? That was really sort of a 100-to-1 shot, and Parker Bowen nearly converted it, which would have been great to see on television.
A little bit of an edgy start, I would say, for the new boy on the American team.
Well, Simon, all these players would like to get a couple of shots out the way, just to find their feet, get a few nerves and butterflies out the way. So they're really keen to get out on the lane, but with a Baker game, as I say, they only get 2 shots each.
Larsson stomps all over the open frame. Brilliant from the Swede. And that's what you've got to do when your opponent leaves it open. You've got to make the strike, and then things change, and Europe back in it.
Yeah, great looking shot. Hooked nicely up into the 1-3 pocket, carried all 10s, and that's 2 shots for Larsson.
Down a lot of power during last year's tournament, and it's going to be a problem in the singles matches because of the amount of revs he gets, the amount of oil he's going to move down that lane. Sweet bowling from the big nasty from Pflugerville in Texas.
Yeah, 2 shots and 2 strikes. The man that shoots 300 games for breakfast, some say. He's had so many of them. A real danger man from the Team USA side.
Dominic Barrett, I remember when he came onto the scene in his early 20s, just moved into his 30s now. And Cass, you mentioned him to me and you said, watch out for this boy. We will see him on TV very soon. And he has not failed to impress.
And he'll be around for a long time as well. He has a great future in 10-pin bowling, but unfortunately on this frame, he's left a split. Left the 2 and the 4 pin on the left-hand side of the lane and the 10 pin in the corner because the ball just hurried on. A makeable spare, and there it is. How about that?
Got it. Little bit of a tickle off the wall, but the bowling gods are smiling on Dominic Barrett, and he'll take this. What a spare.
Just chips that 2 pin across, and look, hits the 10 pin like a messenger, doesn't it? Out the gutter and chips it away. Great looking spare.
The Glasgow kiss on the back end of that one from the man from Essex. But still, the scores bouncing back and forth. USA only in control if O'Neill can make this strike. Which he can't. Cuts up right through the head pin. And again leaves a makeable spare, but it's the score that's the problem. Dropping to a potential maximum of 218, and that's
very makeable spare.
Here comes the plastic fantastic, the straight ball, and it's not made.
Oh dear, now that is a big error from Bill O'Neill, a man that averages over 220 on the PBA Tour in the United States. And this has just chopped the 3 pin straight off.
Opportunities here for the Blues. Team Europe then need to stay on the strikes. Stu Williams loves it and takes all 10. That's got the crowd going early doors here in Barnsley.
Certainly has, Simon. Yeah, it's a great looking shot from Stewart. And how important was that split conversion by Dom Barrett in the previous frame? That was so important. Stu's followed it up with a big 10, and it's high fives all round.
Mr. 300. Needs all 10 here. Gets them. You can see the power that these guys can exert. Goes through the oil, gets to the dry part of the lane, and that's when the work is done, getting that perfect angle for the right-handers into the 1-3 pocket.
Yeah, the lane's been dressed with conditioning oil, and it goes down to tapers down to 40 feet, which leaves 20 feet to the headpin of dry, what they call back end.
Putting down the number 9 pattern. It's the scimitar pattern. Palermo, just look at the revs on that ball, and this is where Palermo's problem can sometimes be in this game. It's that just over-revving, going through the deck and leaving pins, and it's a problem for the two-handers.
So much rotation on the ball, as you say. It hits the pocket just a fraction high, but there's so much power going in there. Pins jump all around that 4-pin, and it can only be a spare. But it's a clean frame, and Europe retain their lead.
Just one pin in it as we come down the stretch. Well, this is the man Team USA have put a lot of faith in, Parker Bowen.
Well, they've put him in the number 1 position, so he's going to shoot 3 frames, and this is the last one. It's frame 9 for him. And Big Wes will be the finisher.
Yeah, that's where to play, Big Wes, certainly, but this is the foundation. And the foundation, I'm afraid, is a little shaky from Parker Bowen. It's not unusual, is it, Cass, for the Baker? It's very difficult to get a rhythm when you have to sit down and stand up and sit down again. It's not easy.
No, that's true, and by tradition, Europe have normally lost many of the Baker games, including the first one last year. So a victory here will be an absolute bonus.
USA have to strike it off the card for a measly 184, which leaves the door wide open here for the Europeans. So Martin Larsson for the Team Europe Foundation frame. 2
strikes out of 2 shots he's made so far.
Beautifully done.
Make that 3.
Oh, superb, superb from the Swede. This is a very, very bold statement here from Team Europe.
Lays the ball out nicely, and there it just starts, comes out of the hook and starts to roll up into the pocket. And with the right.
Now, all he can do is ask a question here. Strike it off the card and set a mark. She begins nicely. Come back to the line. This man was so good last year, Cass, wasn't he? And that's the worry, I think, for Team Europe. If Wes Malott fires again, if Bill O'Neill is okay, and if Parker Bowen, the left-hander, copes nicely all on his own out there on the lane, then this could be very, very strong for the USA this year.
A couple of shots each, but Wes needs to 3 strike out for 184, which unfortunately probably won't be enough, because that will mean that Europe just have to make a spare to win.
Messenger gets across. It has stayed. It has stayed. So that 10 taken out, and Team USA's score finishes up at 174. Plenty of breathing room here for Europe to put the first point in the bank.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a mark will be good.
Long way to. Dominic Barrett needs a strike.
Any strike or spare will be good. An open frame will be no good.
Barrett to do it in style then. He's got it. Just tightens up his line a little. And there's the point in the bank for Team Europe.
Yeah, high fives all around. Almost a little bit of showboating there from Dom Barrett. It was a great looking shot. It strikes in the 9th and 10th for Team Europe. That's an absolute...
That's the game. Always bowled out through all the frames. Opportunities for a bit of experimentation for the players. The job is done for Team Europe. Dominic Barrett will be feeling that pressure is just lifted a touch. Good start then for the Europeans. 194 beats 174. That's the final totals in the Baker. And for a change, Team Europe in the team game get off to a flyer. They'll take that, Cass.